Okay, the one and only Bob. The next morning, I began my slow journey, moving through the tall, wet grass, my limbs stiff from the cold. Now and then, I'd drink from a mud puddle or gnaw on some grass. By evening, I was wobbly with hunger and thirst. I followed the highway. Every time a wheeled creature roared by, I froze in fear. And yet, and this is what slays me, I knew the cars meant humans, and humans meant the possibility of living, just as much as they meant the possibility of dying. Well, the reason he said that was because when the box got thrown out of the truck, all of his siblings died. He was the only one that didn't. Darkness had fallen when it came out of nowhere. The owl. A shadow in a shadow. They don't make any sound. Did you know that?
What was it?
Owls. When they swoop down. Yes, Catherine.
Why do all his siblings die when he got thrown off the cross?
What?
Why did all his siblings die when he got thrown out of the truck?
They were just puppies, and he was the only one who landed in a soft spot. The rest of them landed either in the creek and they drowned, or on the side of the road on the pavement. Yeah, they didn't make it. Yeah. It's quite impressive when you think about it. Have you ever had an owl swoop down over your head?
Yeah. Yes.
And they're really quiet, aren't they?
They're scary. Well, I heard the leaves. I've heard a hawk. It sounds like a sound of the cat. They're like they're screaming. It sounds like
Okay. Just as her talons, those marvelous weapons, raked my fur, I caught my foot in a small hole and I stumbled. If she had gotten hold of my body, I wouldn't be here, but all she managed to do was grab my tail. Hi.
I'm Mia, Scout, and Morgan.
Okay.
Are they all here today?
Yes, they are. Only time in my life I've regretted my handsome hindquarters. I was airborne, hanging upside down, dizzy and dazed, and just crazy enough to think, hey, I'm actually flying, before the terror hit me full force. I caught a whiff of other animals below. Later I found out they were pocket gophers, but back then I just knew I was smelling something completely foreign. The owl must have decided the gophers would make a more satisfying meal. She let go of her grip, and I fell to the earth. Huh?
How did he not die?
He's about to tell us why he didn't die. This time, too. That's twice. Maybe it was my puppy fat, or my soft bones, or my incredible good fortune, but I didn't die. I didn't even break anything. I'd flown twice in my short life and lived to tell the tale. I followed a small hollow at the base of the fallen tree, poked my nose in, and got a swat and a hiss from a grouchy raccoon. Kept going, waddling, whimpering. Lights ahead, new strange smells. Kept going, kept going. It's amazing how much the sheer will not to die can keep you moving. I finally came to a small round curving off the main highway. Exit 8, it turned out to be. A big billboard overhead had a picture of a terrifying animal on it. Of course, I didn't know what a billboard was. Didn't know that the scary animal was a gorilla, let alone that he would become my dearest friend. But something told me to follow the off-ramp, and eventually I ended up at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan. I made it to the mall, slept in dirty hay by some garbage bins. The next night, I found the hole in Ivan's cage, stole his banana, slept on his belly, and the rest, as they say, is history. For 2 years, I lived at that seedy old place that was part mall, part circus, and all crummy. But that was nothing compared to Ivan. He spent 27 lousy years there, and our dear friend Stella, an old circus elephant, was stuck there for most of her life, too. Then Stella passed away.
Oh no.
It nearly broke Ivan's heart. I tried like crazy to get him through those dark days, but what really saved him, I think, was Ruby, our baby elephant friend. When Stella passed away, before Stella died, Ivan promised her he'd get Ruby out of that awful place. And to my amazement, he actually pulled it off. Ivan and Ruby and a bunch of our other pals ended up going to different places. Zoos, sanctuaries that knew how to take care of them. They're with others of their own kind. They're loved and well cared for. It's been over a year now since we all moved, and they seem so much happier. So how many of you who had not seen the movie, The One and Only Ivan, actually watched it? Okay.
What is it? I've never seen it.
Okay, they made the movie of The One and Only Ivan a while ago, and it's on Disney Plus if you have that.
Oh yeah, I seen it. I seen it on Disney Plus, but I never wanted to watch it.
It's really good. And actually, since you didn't listen to all the recordings,
I listened to them.
huh?
I listened to them.
Yeah. If you didn't, try and watch the movie if you can. It's a lot shorter than the book, and it's really good. Me, I lucked out. My girl Julia, whose dad had worked at the mall, decided her family needed a dog. Who was I to argue? 2 square meals, my own bed, and all the belly rubs I could beg for. What dog in his right mind would say no to that? The best part is we don't live far from Ivan and Ruby. I get to see them all the time. I'm glad they're nearby, and I'm thrilled they've settled in so well. Really, it's a solid solution, but it's not a perfect one. The way I understand things, it's like this. We live on a lonely ball called Earth, and humans have basically been throwing it against the wall for so long that the poor old ball is falling apart. It's like me with a tennis ball, chewing away until it's nothing but pieces of slimy rubber that taste like, well, slimy rubber. Yeah. And that means there aren't as many places left for wild animals. Seems there are good zoos and bad zoos, and good sanctuaries and bad sanctuaries, just like there are good dog families and bad dog families. The good places are trying to keep all wild species healthy and safe. They don't want endangered animals to go away forever. They also don't want the earth to turn into a slimy, dilapidated tennis ball. Although honestly, slimy rubber doesn't taste half bad. You should try it sometime. The thing is, I would give anything to see my dear pal Ivan deep in the jungles of Africa where he was born. Or to see Ruby running across the savannah with a herd of elephants, her big old ears flapping in the wind. I'd give up a mile-high pile of bacon cheeseburgers to see that happen. But it ain't happening. I get that, and so do they. When you're an animal, it helps to be realistic. Chapter 2. This morning, I wake up in my cozy bed, way too early for Julia to make me breakfast. She and her mom and dad are still asleep, and even the guinea pigs are quiet. My belly grumbles, and once again, I curse my thumblessness. Humans are one big design flaw. Inferior noses, the inscrutable humdrum rumps, and don't get me started on their odor. But the opposing thumb idea, yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans I could open, the doorknobs I could conquer. Anyway, I feel worried. Worry's a waste of time, and it doesn't fit with my tough guy act. But sometimes I can't seem to help myself. Before I woke up, I'd been dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. It wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run toe twitcher. Nope, this one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all four of us, in a black raging river. For some reason, I was in the lead, and I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me? Save them? 2 elephants and a gorilla? As I paddled like mad, their voices faded. I looked behind me, and they had vanished. And then I heard it. A faint bark. That bark. I woke up then, like I always do. I did an all-over shake, trying to toss off the stench of the nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some primitive part of my brain, the wolf in me maybe, is on edge. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance. The blink of an eye, the bounce of a ball. There are so many ways the world can fail you. By the time everyone else wakes up, I've calmed down, but the wind outside sure hasn't. It's an early fall Saturday, gusty with scraps of sun, clouds bouncing off each other like bunnies in a basket, messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere. From dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats, and from anxious raccoons. Basically, everybody is asking the same thing. What is the deal with the weather today? I already know. Weather Channel was on last night with a full screen of big white cotton candy looking swirls. Julia's dad, George, had already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, had packed an emergency bag just in case we had to evacuate. Another hurricane was on the way, the 3rd this season. Not as big as the last couple, but slow moving. I've seen the routine, know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room, waiting patiently for Julia to come home so she can take me on our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service, and she's out walking other dogs. Yes?
I have to go to my son's.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What time?
10:45.
Yeah, better go. How many of you have ever been in a hurricane?
Bet.
No?
I want to. I want to play. I just want to see. That's all I'm trying to do. See it. And I
Well-
want to go inside of it so I can start spinning around.
No, you won't spin around. That's a tornado.
Oh, yeah, that's a tornado. You don't know what you're doing.
So in a hurricane, you have a lot of warning that is coming. And,
I know when a tsunami is coming.
well, a tsunami's the same as a hurricane, except it has the big wave. It has the weather like a
Or does it
hurricane.
have the same like where like all the water goes like way out to sea?
It does because with the way the waves are in a tsunami, and not as much in a hurricane as in the tsunami, it'll go back a lot farther. But I've actually stood on the beach and watched the water go away from the beach. Not just the little wave part, but
So we can't get tsunami because
no, you
we
can't.
have no beach.
Right.
That'd be cool if we had one.
No.
But we can't. No, but if we had a beach,
Huh?
we can get floods,
Yes, we can get floods.
and we have.
And we have, yes.
I was born during a flood.
Wow. What did you say?
Andrew said that it would be cool if we had a beach, not if we had a tsunami.
Yeah, it would be cool to have a beach, wouldn't it?
Actually, it's still that possible to have a tsunami here. If the wave is super big, it's still possible, but very, very just. My mom, when she graduated, she saw tornadoes. It's possible. Yes, the whole.
But it would have to wipe out California and Nevada.
Go through Texas.
What?
You would have to go through Texas. Not necessarily. No. Yeah.
No.
It would go half through then won't go half it up. And half.
Well, Texas is on the Gulf of Mexico, and they don't get tsunamis. It's the Pacific that gets the most of the tsunamis.
So I'd have to go through Oklahoma.
Nope, it would have to come from the West Coast and go across all of the states on the West Coast and the mountains in Colorado to get to us. And that won't happen.
So that's maybe. Plus, I think some of the mountains will maybe suffer.
Yeah.
But we have worse than tsunamis. COVID-19.
Everybody has that.
Yeah.
I get my own private walk because she's my own private girl. I can practically taste the storm coming through the open window. The back of my throat tingles, the metallic edge, the fuzzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. Of course, not everybody can smell what I smell. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than a human's. Dogs are experts at odor, students of stink. We analyze the air the way humans read poetry, searching for invisible truths. But we don't just smell the good and the bad stuff that people notice. The usual suspects, popcorn and lilacs and freshly sharpened pencils, diapers and Brussels sprouts, and freaked out skulls. No, our noses get it all, the whole shimmery double rainbow in April. Humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get the molecule of roast beef dancing in the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipop under the back seat of the Honda 16 cars up on the highway at rush hour. We get things humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the... Okay, we're going to end here.